Thanks for joining us and welcome to our Beginner's Guide to Weebly webinar. I'm Erin, Weebly's community manager, and today we're going to talk about basically building your site from scratch. As you can see, I have already signed into Weebly, and first thing I'm going to do is create a new site. So this is my user home or my dashboard. This is where I'm going to come back and see my stats, my blog comments, tips and tricks, and then if you scroll down, you can also access our blog and our inspiration center for quick tips or starting points on your site. But like I said, we are going to start a fresh, brand new site right now. Super exciting. So if I hit this down arrow, you can see I have a few sites already made, but if I scroll to the top, it says add a site. So I'll go ahead and choose that. And this is if you haven't made a site before and you're just creating a Weebly account new, this is the first thing that you're going to see. You are going to want to choose the focus of your site. So either a regular site, a blog, or a store. Whichever you choose, you can use the same functions. It just takes you on slightly different paths. So I'm going to go ahead and click a regular site here. And next we choose a theme. So we'll talk about themes a little bit later, but themes basically set up your site. It's kind of a template that you're starting with, so you don't start with necessarily a blank slate. If you look through these, you can see that most of them are image heavy, but again, these are completely customizable. So I'm just going to go ahead and click the first one, and we'll go with that, and then we can change things, and like I said, I'll talk about themes again later. Another thing that we're going to do before we actually get started on our site is choose the domain name. So there are three options here. You can use a subdomain of Weebly, so my website, which is going to be about the cupcakery, which is my hypothetical, in my dreams, cupcake chef. I could say something like cupcakery.weebly.com. I could register a new domain, so that means I would buy my website's address with Weebly, or I can use a domain that I already own. Whichever option is completely fine. Right now, since I don't want to pay for anything, I'm going to go ahead and use the subdomain. So you can go ahead and start typing. Like I said, it's Cupcakery is the name of my business, but you can see that it's taken here. So maybe we would want to do, let's say my location is in San Francisco, so maybe I would say SF Cupcakery, and that looks like it's available. So I'll go ahead and click continue. Again, you can also change the domain of your site through the settings tab, which I'll go ahead and show you in just a second. So we've just gone through a few beginner steps, and I want to just recap because we've already, gone through a lot considering it's only taking us a few minutes. So first we chose the focus of our site. Next we chose a theme or kind of a template to get started, and then we chose our domain. Okay, now we are at our actual site and we're ready to go. You'll see here that it has the domain it has the template and it's prompting me to do a few things. But before we even get there, I want to explain to you what these elements are on the left side and then also what these tabs are at the top. So the build tab is where you are really going to live most of the time when you're building your Weebly site. This is where you can drag and drop the different elements to put your site together. So say that this is my main homepage. Say that I wanted to add a title to my homepage. I wanted to add some text to my homepage. And say I wanted to add an image. So you see here that I'm just dragging and dropping all of the different elements that I want. Okay, we'll come back to the build page when we really dive into making our site. Let's move on to the Pages tab. This is where I can add different pages to my site. You'll see that I'm already started with Home, About, Contact, but I can add as many sites as I want. You can see whenever you click this little plus sign, it gives you a drop-down menu of the different kinds of pages that you can have. Okay. Again, we'll go through all of these later. I just want to give you a brief overview of what each of these tabs do. The Themes tab, if you'll remember, we just chose our theme, but you are more than welcome to change your theme again if you decide that the theme you originally chose isn't quite right for your site. The Store tab, this is where you can build out your online business and really get into our e-commerce features. Unfortunately, there's a lot of information just within this store tab, so it's not something that we're going to cover in this webinar. But if you are interested in learning about our store tab and how to use our e-commerce features, we have a separate webinar specifically on e-commerce, and I really recommend you checking that out. Finally, we have the Settings tab. So as I mentioned before, the Settings tab is where you can change your site address by clicking this Change button. You can title your website. You can add a favicon, which is this little icon you see in the tab. You can set a password. You can do a few different things here, and then you'll see that the Settings tab has its own range of options, which we will go through a bit later. So now that I've previewed all of the tabs, let's go back and focus on the Build tab. Like I said, this is where you're going to be spending the majority of your time once you're actually building your site. If you remember, all I had to do to bring these elements onto my page was drag and drop. So say I wanted a map, I could add a map. Maybe I wanted another image, I could add that. And you'll see that wherever the line is, see this blue line on the left, or see that it moves here above the map, wherever that line is, that's where your element is going to fall. So say that I wanted to create columns. All I would need to do is drag an element next to another element. Okay, now that I've kind of have a few elements on the page, what if I decide that now I have too many elements? Well, if you click on the different elements, you'll see these options. One is an arrow. One is kind of a little box that gives you a move cursor, and then one is this X. So these do a few different things. If you click on the arrow, you can either move or copy the element. If you want to move it, you can move it to a different page. You could also copy it to a different page or copy it to this page. So say you wanted to copy an image or wanted to copy a map, you could do that to this own page. The square, like I said, moves the map around like so. And then finally, if you wanted to delete an element, you could do so with this X. Okay, so one suggestion I have to you is that you make sure, absolutely sure, that you want to delete your element, because once you delete it, you can only drag it back. We don't have an undo button at Weebly. So make sure that you purposefully delete elements. Okay, so it's asking, are we sure? Yes, I decided I don't want that map. I deleted it, and there we go. These elements prompt you what to do. So for this title or this text box, you'll see that it says click here to edit, and we will do just that. So I will say the cupcakery. And here you can type anything that you want, and you'll see you have formatting, limited formatting, much like you would in Microsoft Word or Google Docs. If you wanted, you could even copy and paste from another source. So I grabbed something from a Google Doc, and now I can paste it. You can see that the formatting is slightly different, so you might want to highlight it, take care of any formatting issues, and you might have to reformat it yourself just a bit. Okay, so what about an image? As you see, it again prompts you a little bit to upload an image. If I click this text box, you'll see that I have a few options here. I could drag a photo or upload a photo from my computer. I could search for images, if I could spell. So once I search for images, I'll have the options of both professional and free photos. Most of the professional photos are cost about $5. The free photos are, of course, free. I could also use favorite images. So these are images that I've already used on my site that I've specifically deemed as favorite. Or I could enter the image URL. And it gives you a few different instructions here, so it needs to be a certain kind of file. I'm going to go ahead and upload a photo from my computer. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and upload that image. And there we go. Don't those cupcakes look delicious? I want a cupcake right now. This is making me hungry. Even though it's after lunch, that's okay. Everybody needs dessert, right? So with this image, I actually have a few options once I have it uploaded. If I click it, I just clicked the image. You have an option to edit the image. So you can crop it, you can rotate it, you can change the opacity, the fade, you can even add effects. It gives you the image size here in case that matters to you. And then you would save it. There's also a few more options. You can replace the image, you can add a link to the image, you can align it, you can even change the spacing, add a caption. So there are all kinds of options here. Another option that you have is in the moving of the image. So if you remember, I can make columns by moving the image next to the text, but I can also place the image within the text by moving it over a little bit. So now you'll see the blue box is within that text. Go ahead and drop it there. So yes, this image is very large, so I'll go ahead and shrink it a little bit. And now you can see that the image lives within the text. You can also change the margins while you're here. Say that I thought the image was a little close to the text. I could click on spacing and I could change the margins. Maybe I want the left margin to be a little bit larger. That's a little bit better. So again, you have plenty of options here, you have plenty of flexibility, and it's really all about trial and error, what you think would look best. So here we go. We already have a page halfway done. Isn't that exciting? It's super easy, right? One good thing about Weebly is that if you allow it to, Weebly will do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. It gives you all the tools for success. It's just a matter of you picking them up and using them. So let me show you another fun way to get a page built. If I was going to click on the Pages tab, and then let's say I want to add a new page, and I'll name that Locations. See? You could do that. You could add as many pages as you want. Maybe I would want to add a blog. Maybe I would want to add a store. Let's have some fun with the About page. So let me just show you on the Pages tab. Like I said, you have plenty of options here. You can change the header, which is this image here. I can have a short header. I can have a tall header, so it makes things a little bit bigger. I could even take the header out if I wanted to. So it would just have the navigation bar and it wouldn't give me that image at the top. I can also change the visibility, so this would show up in my menu or not. And I could also password protect my page just in case I only wanted specific people to get there. So once we're done editing our page options, we are left again with a blank page. So this is going to look very similar to what we did just a few moments ago. But instead of dragging and dropping elements here, I would like to choose a page layout. So I'm going to go ahead and click that button. You'll see that we have another set of templates for you. And don't be nervous of these templates, I guess. They're just a starting point, just like the themes. So you can customize and make these page layouts as detailed or as minimal as you want. You'll also see that we categorize them by home page, about page, services, contact, menu, portfolio. That's just our grouping of these templates. But again, if you like a specific template, say that I want to put a template on my about page, but I found the template under home, that's completely fine. There are no rules about how you use these templates. Let's go back to the About tab and see if I like any of these templates. So they all look great. I could choose this one, and it actually allows me to preview the layout. And you'll see that it has lorem ipsum text, so that's text that you can replace. It has images you can replace. You can even move around these images and text. Again, it's completely customizable once you select the layout. Let's say I want to go ahead and cancel it. I'm not quite sure about that one, and I actually want to choose this one instead. You can preview as many as you'd like, but when you're ready, go ahead and click Keep. And now you'll see that these elements are all on my page. Pretty exciting, right? So once again, these are completely flexible. Say that maybe I didn't want this text or that column, and then I really only needed one column and then 2 text boxes there. You can do that. Whatever you want to do here, you can most definitely do. I could add another image if I wanted. I could add a map. It's completely up to you. And again, it'll be trial and error, so go ahead and play around with it until you get comfortable. So let's recap here. We've done a lot. We started our site. We built the first page by dragging and dropping. We also worked on page layouts, chose one that was appropriate for our site, and customized it a small bit. But what if you still aren't quite happy with the design of your site? Another resource that you can use is the themes. So this is something we had touched on a little bit earlier and we'll go back to in detail now. If I click on this themes tab, you'll see that, say I wanted to keep my current theme, but I didn't really like the colors. I have a few color options here that I could change. I could also change fonts here. I just select which part of the font or which type of font I would want to change. And I can change backgrounds. So if I wanted to change this background image, let's say I would want one closer to food. Or maybe just something pretty like this. I could do that. And then save. And we'll kind of take you back through that in a second when we talk about headers. But there's many options when it comes to design. If you just in general wanted to change your theme, you could most definitely do that. Go ahead and click the change theme arrow. And this will take you to our theme gallery. You can sort by all the themes that we have, the themes you've recently used, or even custom themes. So the first one that we use and we're using currently is Slick, and we really just chose that because it was the first one available. So we went ahead and chose that. And you'll see that just like with the page layouts, you can preview any of these themes that you want. So say I wanted to preview paper. I could do that. Let's go ahead and preview it. And this will not remove things on your site. You'll see that the header is customizable, and then if you scroll down, you'll see the work that we already did on the main page. Okay, say I'm not quite excited about that one. Maybe I want to go with Cento. Let me preview that one. And I like it. I think this is going to be a little more appropriate for our site. So again, just like with the page layouts, instead of canceling, you would choose this template. And you'll see, there we go. We still have all the work that we've just done. If we go to home, you can see the cupcakes, the images that I uploaded, and the text that I added. But now we have a theme that maybe feels a little bit better. And just to let you know, you can change themes as often as you want. Again, trial and error is kind of the theme, if you will, right now. And it's really up to you. It's your personal preference. And each theme, like I mentioned before, is really flexible. So you can not only change colors, but you can also change images as well. Okay, so we're moving right along, which is very exciting. Let's take a step back and go to the Pages tab again. So now that we've really talked about build and we've really talked about theme, let's go back to Pages. So you saw me add a page and you saw me kind of customize a page, but there's something more specific that I want to clue you in on, if you will. So you'll see this is our site navigation as it stands. If I wanted to hide about in the navigation, you'll see that now it's taken out of this menu. Okay, I could also copy this page and now you'll see about twice. I could delete this page, and now again you only see it once. So you can add as many pages as you want here, but because there is not infinite space on your page, soon you will notice that they start to kind of build on top of each other. And let me show you what I mean by that. So let's make a locations page, and I'll save that. Oops, I already did that. Huh. Aren't I thinking about the same things? So let me just call this new page. I'll just keep it just for the sake of showing you what happens whenever you create a certain amount of pages. So you'll see that now the text is getting a little bit smaller. That's okay, it still looks fine. Again. And again. Again, so you'll see that now it's moved down. And now it is changed to more. And this more gives you a drop-down menu, which is fine, except I just wanted to warn you that I think it has a few implications. One, I believe that your site's viewers, are less likely to visit the pages that are located under more. It seems to denote that they're a little less important than what actually shows up in the navigation. So you want to be very careful about having things here. One solution that you could do is nest pages under what shows up in the navigation. So it's much like you see here with the more, except things are nested or categorized under more appropriate locations. So say that we actually had 3 locations. What I would want to do is pick up 3 of these pages and nest them under locations. And what you do, it's a drag and drop, much like the elements. So I want to pick this up, and I would want to just move it over a little bit, and you'll see where it kind of indents under locations. If I drag it there and drop it, now you'll see that locations has 1 page under it. So you can nest again. So say I wanted to nest under this page, I could also do that. So it has this, and you'll see that this is also nested. It looks like I'm having connectivity issues, so let me just refresh the page real quick. And this actually brings us to a good point in that Weebly automatically saves your work. So say that you did need to refresh the page, you could, and everything is there when you come back. So you don't have to click the save button, which is really nice. Okay, so say I wanted to nest new page under new page. So you'll see now that there's a menu under new page. See kind of how that's working? So it's a better use of categorization and organization. So let's say if I just wanted 3 pages under locations, I could do that. So now you'll see my 3 locations there. Let me just name these real quick. And almost done. So I chose San Francisco, Arizona, and New York because those are where the Weebly offices are. Pretty exciting, right? So now you'll see that we've minimized enough to where everything fits into the actual navigation, and we don't have that more drop down, which is exciting. Maybe I would actually change this to flavors, and we could talk about cupcake flavors. And then I would also nest these 2. Oops. So maybe I would say this one is seasonal. And maybe this one could be traditional. Anything's game in my imaginary cupcake business. Okay, so now you see that we have our menu sorted out. It's categorized, it's organized, it looks clean, it's succinct, so it's really clear as to where people need to go. Just because I like contact to be at the end, I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop that there. And you can see that you can rearrange these as much as you'd like. Okay. Pretty exciting. So now we have a page. Well, we have 2 pages that are looking good. We have a new theme that works a little better for our site, and we have a cleaned up functional navigation. We are on our way. Pretty exciting, right? So let me show you a fun feature that you can use to create a table of contents. What I'm going to do here is use our image gallery to, again, use our navigation in the best way possible. So I'm going to drag and drop our image gallery here. And you'll see that it's very much like the just image text, except here it says upload images, which is fine. This doesn't give you the option to search, it just wants you to upload gallery items from your phone or from your computer, which is again fine. We will do that. Let's see here. Look at all these cupcake pictures. So fun, right? Okay, so I selected 3 pictures, and you'll see that they upload all at the same time. Oh, maybe I only selected 1 or 2. I'm going to go ahead and add another one. Okay, so you'll see that even if I needed to add more, I most certainly could. Just like the elements that we did on the home page, these have specific options. I could copy, I can move these, I could move the element around, or I could even delete the whole gallery. So that deletes all of the pictures at once. Okay, once I have the pictures in, I can actually link each of these pictures, and that helps create the table of contents that I mentioned before. So if I click on the image, oops. If I click on the image, it gives me 3 distinct options. I could link, I could add a caption, or I could even delete that image. What I'm going to do is link. So I want to click on link, and again, here you have a few options. You could enter a URL from an outside site. I could connect it to a standard page, so that's a page that I've already created in my site. I could connect it to a store page. I could even connect it to a file, so that means when they click the picture, they would automatically download a file. Or I could even connect it to an email address. So that means whenever they click that image, it automatically opens an email to send to this specific address. What we're going to do is connect each of these images to the different locations we have. So under locations, I'm going to find the page that I want to link it to. So I want to do New York, and then we save. For this image, we want to do the same thing, so a standard page and SF. For this one, again, we want to link, standard page, and Arizona. Okay, so now we have each of these images linked, which is super exciting, but if I was a viewer, I would really have no idea, 1, that these were linked, or 2, where they go. So what we're going to do is add some captions to clue people in. So again, I just click the image. It gives me these options. I click caption, and I type my caption, and then click done. Then it doesn't look like it's there, but believe me, I'll show you that it is. We want to click caption again, type in where we are, and click done. And then our final one, and click done. Okay, so again, the captions are there, but they're not quite showing yet. So what you want to do is visit the options for the entire gallery. And you do that by clicking outside of the image. So again, let me just show you how I did that. I'm not clicking on the image. I'm kind of clicking on this white space between the image and the blue line. Okay, so this gives you options for columns. So I could make these images a little bit bigger. I could add more images here. I could deal with spacing, so if I wanted to change these margins. And then finally, I can deal with captions. Okay, so what we want to do is make sure that we have captions. We have the lightbox and either partial or full thumbnails. I think full thumbnails are a bit better. Okay, so now that we have the captions turned on and you can see them, I think they're actually a little too small. So if you remember, we can actually change the font by going to the theme page or the theme tab. Then we go to change fonts. We can scroll down here and choose which section we want, which would be gallery captions. You can see that they're actually highlighted now. We know that that's the font we're about to change. Select this, and from here you can change both the font and the size. So I want to go ahead and make this much larger, and I could even change the font. And if you don't like the font you chose, just keep choosing. Okay, and there we go. So maybe once I actually have this gallery chosen, maybe I don't want those pages hidden under the locations. Maybe I don't want to show them here because now I have this. All I have to do is go back to these individual pages and hide them in the navigation. So as you can see, there are lots of different options here, a lot of ways to do things. Again, I can't repeat enough that it's your personal preference or what is appropriate for your site or product. So the more you play around with things, the better off you are going to be. So let's head back to the home page. We had a few things left to do here, so we have most of our content done on the actual page. But as you can see, we still have a few things to do. One is to complete our header. So this box here is our header. There are two different places where you can change the type of header you have, either with this gear that you'll see in the header or on the Pages tab under Header Type. So this is on the home page, this is a landing header. Like I said before, you could also have a tall header, which takes that button away. A short header, which makes the image a little bit smaller. You could have no header. It's completely up to you. We're going to go back to the landing header for now. And again, just like before, this is going to prompt you on what you need to do. Let me go ahead and tell you a little secret. Ready? Ready for the secret? Where it says click to add headline, click to add description, and button text, if you don't touch these at all and then you publish your site, no one will be able to see this text or the button. They will only see the image. Okay? That's if you don't touch these at all. I get a lot of people asking, how can we take this button off? Well, you can't really take off the button, but like I said, as long as you don't touch it, as long as you don't change the text or add a link, then nobody will see that button. That's a nice little trick that you can keep in your back pocket. Okay, but we are going to put something here. So we want to add the line, Sweet Tooth, that's what we're here for. So let's talk for a second about this button. If you aren't familiar, we call it a call to action, or a CTA. A CTA directs your customers, your site's viewers, whoever is on your site, to a specific place. So I would not recommend just ignoring this button. You can always point people somewhere specific. So maybe for the button text, I would say something like visit us today. And you can also change the button style, so you can make it a little bit smaller. I want people to see it, so I want to make it big. I can change the position, and then finally I can link it. And here I would want to link it to our locations page that we just worked on. So again, we're guiding people to that locations page. It's subtle, but we're still pointing an arrow. We're giving people specific directions. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. But this image, although it's very beautiful. I wish I was in that jungle. It kind of looks like Hawaii, which I definitely wish I was in right now. That would be wonderful. Although it's beautiful, it doesn't really have anything to do with cupcakes or my bakery. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this image. So you can do so either here, or if I go to themes, I can change the background here. Okay, so there's two ways of doing it. We'll go ahead and edit image here. So these are Weebly given images. Most of them, all of them, are very beautiful. You can even separate them into categories that we've chosen if you're looking for something specific. Or you can upload your own image, but I would make sure that it's an appropriate size because you don't want things to be too blurry or pixelated or anything like that. So if I look at these, there aren't any necessarily that are food related. Maybe I'll go to lifestyle and check those out. Raspberries work. I could select that. And you can see I have even more options here. I could zoom. I don't really want to zoom. I could blur it a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, a little blurry. I could darken it. I could add a filter. I could just play around with it until it makes sense for your page. When it finally comes to saving, I know you saw these options earlier and I kind of breezed by it, but here you go. Once I save, I have, again, a few options. I could save it to only this page. I could save it to all pages, or I could save it to specific pages. So what this means is that every different page, so home, about, locations, flavors, contact, all of those could have different images in your header if you want to. Or some of them could have the same image, or all of them could have the same image. It's up to you. Right now I'm going to go ahead and save to all. All right, our page is looking pretty good. And hey, I played this well, right? Because there are raspberries on these cupcakes, and there are raspberries up here. Perfect. So one kind of glaring oversight, perhaps, on our part is this my site. It's kind of bothering me, especially since we got the whole rest of our site done, or the whole rest of this page done, but it says my site at the top, which just doesn't really go with anything else on the page. One thing I could do is just turn this off, and then you'll just see the navigation and the header and then our content on the page. I could also change the text instead of my site. I could say, I could actually put the name of my business. Or if I had a logo, I could also insert a logo here. Whichever is best for you. Cool. That's super exciting. We have our homepage done. So we have the title of our page. We have a little call to action that draws people in and gets them interested in our site. And we have some content to get people started. So far we've only made standard pages. I told you that we weren't really going to discuss store pages, so what does that leave us? Leaves us with a blog page. I don't know how many of you have tried to start a blog on another platform, but starting a blog on Weebly is really easy. Actually, since you've gone through most of the steps to create your site in the past 40 minutes, you pretty much know everything you need to know. And I'll just run through everything again and kind of give you the highlights. But you should be confident that you can make an amazing looking blog with really good content. So first we start off just with the regular page settings. I would want to rename it blog. You can definitely leave it as blog. I'm just going to change it to journal. And I'll save it. And I'll drag it in one because I like contact being last. And I will also refresh because I'm on Wi-Fi and that's always fun. That's what happens in a live webinar, right? You never know what is going to come up or where you're going to have technical difficulties. So here's our blog again, and we're going to stay on our blog and also visit the build tab. So already you'll see that this is a little bit different. One second. So already you'll see that this is a little bit different. You have kind of a template of text items here. Excuse me one second. You'll see that it prompts you. You can write a little bit about yourself if you'd like, just an overview. You'll see where categories will come into play whenever it comes time to organizing your blog, and then archives when it comes to past blogs. You'll also see most of the elements that you used on all of your other pages still here in the left-hand side. However, if you try to drag this, the only place you'll get to drag it is this sidebar. However, once it's time to start a new post, I apologize in advance, again, connectivity issues, but these should give you options for your blog. This blue button will prompt you to post a new blog or create a new blog post. So from here, I can fill out the blog's title. And then I can start to drag and drop my elements, just like you did on the other pages. Okay, so maybe I would add some text here. I'm just reusing the text I had from earlier. Maybe I would want to add an image. Maybe I would also want to add a button at the bottom. Whatever you want to do, you have some options. Okay. Once you are comfortable with where your blog post is, you would want to check out the post options over here at the bottom left. Once I click that, you'll see the menu pop up, and you have a few options, including publish options, comments, and categories, and even a secret draft link. So say that you wanted to share your blog post with someone before you actually published it, you could use this secret draft link to do that. When it comes to publishing, you could either publish now or you can schedule, which is very exciting. So that means you can set a time in the future to post your blog, and you don't even have to be there. It'll just post for you automatically if you choose that option. For comments, you can choose either open, closed, or that your comments require approval. So if you have comments, you'll see that they show up down here. Right now, no comments have been posted, so nothing is showing up. And then finally, we have categories. So this is where you tag your different posts to give them a bit of organization. So for this, I would say you can make up the tags. I would be as specific as possible, so I would say cupcakery. And then again, you can add more. Cupcake Fun Day. Maybe I would do event, because the Cupcake Fun Day is an event that I'm doing. Okay, and then once they post, the categories will show up here, and people will be able to click the categories to search for the blog posts that fit under that category. Once I post, the blog is added to my page. But since I haven't actually published my page, nobody will see it yet. So these options, just to give you a heads up, I know you can't see them and I apologize for that, but if you saved a blog post, here, let me show you this. So if I went to create another one day part 2. But say that I didn't want to actually post it, I just wanted to save it. I could do that and it would save as a draft. Once you have a draft, this button here will come up and allow you to access the draft again, so you can either delete it or edit it at your leisure. Pretty exciting, right? And that's really all there is to blogs. You can actually see, let's save this one again. Now that we've published this blog post, you can actually see these categories. So again, if you click on the category link, it will take you to the blog, all of the blog posts that have been tagged with that category. So I would definitely suggest using those. So I just have 2 more tips and tricks that I want to show you, and then we are going to jump to Q&A. So go ahead and start thinking about those questions because we'll be able to take them in just a few minutes. Let's go back to our homepage, and I just want to show you 2 really cool things that I've found out and been using since I realized that I could do them. One element I feel like people are kind of scared of sometimes is the embed code element. Let's say we drag and drop that. And once you see it, you'll get prompted to click to set custom HTML. And I feel like this is really what kind of scares people off. They don't know custom HTML. They get kind of nervous about custom HTML. You know what? That's fine. You can actually use this element without even knowing any HTML at all. So one example of this is YouTube. We do have a YouTube element, but say that you wanted to share it in a different format. You could do so with this embed code element. So I found this video that's about buttercream frosting, which sounds delicious. If I clicked share, and then if I click share here, I would have different options like the link, an option to email. If I click embed, it gives me this embed code. All I have to do is copy this and paste it here. And voila! It comes up with that YouTube video. So this is really good for third-party tools. Anywhere you see an embed code that you can just copy and paste, this is where you can use that. Okay, so don't get scared of the embed code element because you can actually use it for a lot of things. The final thing I want to show you is the contact form. Let's say we wanted to put it on the contact page. I drag and drop this, and you can see that there are already just in general a few things that we can customize. But if you click within this contact form element, you'll see that all of our left side elements have changed. And now you get a whole new set of super exciting options, which I love this because a lot of people just don't even realize it happens. So maybe we'll change this to give us a shout. And you can edit all of these. So maybe instead of name, we want to say name, please. You can even make this required or not required. You could give people instructions. You could change the spacing. But you can also add different boxes here. So maybe I want people's phone number. Maybe I want a short text response. In addition to comments, maybe I would say, oops, not that one. Have to make sure I'm editing the right one. Favorite cupcake flavors. So again, the possibilities here are endless. I mean, you don't want to overload people with a million things to fill out, but you can just create your own contact form and make sure that you are getting all of the information that you need and that it's tailored to you, which I find really exciting. Like I said, I feel like a lot of people just kind of glance over this and don't realize that there's endless customization and that you can really get the information you need from your either customers or the people who want to contact you. If you check up here, you can also see form options, which are really important. This, you can just change the whole name in general. You can change who the responses are emailed to. So if someone were to fill this out and click submit, it would send them all to my personal email address at work, erin@weebly.com. If you want to send them a confirmation message, you can do that, or a confirmation link. Again, you can change spacing and you can change the button. And then you want to save. Okay. Super exciting, right? So our very, very, very last step is also one of the best and one of the most satisfying, is now you get to publish. So once you are completely comfortable with your site, or maybe you're not completely comfortable, maybe you just have one page done, but you're ready to get out there and start getting visitors on your site, you're going to want to push this orange publish button. Again, it's just going to ask you about your domain, which we chose earlier. You can also, like we talked about earlier, you can buy a new domain or a new site address with Weebly, or you can use one that you already own, and then you want to continue. And voila! We are published. So if you go to sfcupcakery.weebly.com, you will see all of the hard work that we just did. Okay, let me whisper a little something into your ear. That every time you change something on your site, you want to publish it again to make it live so that other people can see the changes that you just made. Okay. Well, whew, that's a lot of information, right? Like a lot. We just did a lot. We just created an entire site in like 50 minutes. It's pretty awesome. So I'm going to grab a drink of water. Why don't you think about your questions, get your minds together, and I'll be back in just a sec to chat more. Okay, so if you have questions, go ahead and type them into the question box, and I'm going to take them one by one. Okay? So the first question says, I realize you're not covering the store features in this webinar, but can a store with products be added to a free Weebly site? If not, are there add-ons that allow for the sale of limited products and services? That's actually a really good question. And yes, although I didn't cover the store in this webinar, I want to say that, yeah, you can go ahead and upload items, you can upload items to a store with a free site. Some things are going to be limited though. You don't have all of the e-commerce features without upgrading, but you can even receive payments through Stripe with a free account. So you can most definitely have a complete store without upgrading. It's just that if you want all of the bells and whistles of our e-commerce features, you will have to upgrade at some point. Okay, next question. What if an image is copyrighted and you might not know? Would we get a taken down notice? Yes, you certainly would. I recommend always giving credit perhaps in your footer or in a captioner of an image to make sure that people are getting credit. But just in case you're using a copyrighted image and someone happens to report you, don't worry about it. We would most certainly work with you, and you wouldn't be banned forever or anything. Okay, let's see what's next here. Oh, actually, someone commented that things were a bit confusing and there was a lot of information given in a little bit of time. And they wondered if there's actually directions where they can go and do each part. There most certainly is. Let me show you here. So, if you visit hc.weebly.com, this is where all of our help articles live. So this is where all of our instructions live if you wanted to get started, if you want more about domain names, if you want to look into mobile apps. This is a great place for you to get resources. You can also search here. You might want to start with the first steps or the essentials. There's a lot of information. Or if you wanted to watch a webinar again, you could go to the Beginner's Guide to Weebly, and you can watch an older webinar that we've done. Okay. But I completely understand this is a lot of information to take in at once. So feel free to just visit hc.weebly.com and use our resources as much as you want. You can also contact our support team from hc.weebly.com, and we're here to help you. Like I said, we want to set you up for success, so just let us know how we can help. The next question is, can we upload or use custom fonts other than Weebly's? Yes, you can. This would entail using custom CSS. And although I can show you where you would do this, I can't personally give you the instructions. However, PS, if you Google it, you will find lots of tutorials there. YouTube is another place where there are lots of Weebly tutorials. If you go to theme, and you look to the bottom here, you will see edit HTML and CSS. Okay, that's where you're going to get started. And like I said, Google it. Because there are a lot of tutorials out there about using your own custom font. Okay, let's see what we have next. Is there somewhere to add a CAPTCHA or bot screening tool for user contact or comment forms? 1 second. You know, I'm actually not sure about that, but I'm more than happy to look it up for you. Why don't you... Actually, I'll just look it up and I'll email you, Max, because I know your contact information from your registration. Okay, but that's a great question, and I want to make sure that I get you the answer. Okay, can you publish only so only a select few can view? That is where things get a little tricky. The answer is yes, but with caveats, if you will. Say that I wanted to do that. I would go to the Pages tab, then I would click Visibility, and from here I would select the visibility of the page. So, of course, again, the connectivity issues, but it basically, once you're there, once you're at visibility, it allows you to make the site public so everyone can see. It allows you to make it private so only you can see, or it allows you to password protect. The thing is that you have to password protect per page, so that might get a little tedious. Okay, you can also use our membership option, which I don't believe is a free option, but let me check real quick. Hold on just a second. I really appreciate you guys kind of hanging with me while we figure things out together. So I just looked up the membership help article we had, and it basically creates groups for you. So once you go into settings, you can add members and then add groups. So you would manually have to add people. So either way, like I said, they're just caveats, because either way, it's not going to be a simple process for you. So I would really kind of take a step back and see what your goals are for either publishing for only a select few, and then kind of work backwards, I would guess, from our solutions to see which is easier for you, either creating a group or just password protecting individual sites. If you want to chat about that more, Erin@Weebly.com, you're welcome to go ahead and email me as well. Okay, the next question is, I purchased my own domains already. Do I need to have a separate web hosting service, or is that what Weebly is providing? Should I worry about my site going down at any point? No, we don't have any kind of regular outages, so you don't need to worry about your site going down. If your site does go down for some reason, please contact our support team so that we can check on that for you immediately. But yes, basically you can use your own domain if you already have them. You would either be prompted by those pop-up windows we saw at the beginning or the end, or you could change it here for site address. If you have your own domain, then you would add that here. You can also check on hc.weebly.com about using your own domain. So maybe you purchase it from Google or from GoDaddy or from NameSilo. Whichever you use, we have specific instructions on how to set up the DNS records and transfer everything to Weebly. Okay, but it's a fairly simple process. Okay, let's see. Another question was, can you have access to the Q&A sessions? We don't record all of the Q&A sessions or all of the webinars in general, so generally the answer is no. However, most of the questions that we answer here, we make sure to include them in the help articles that you can find at hc.weebly.com. So if you're looking for something specific, that's most definitely where I would start. Okay, what other questions do you guys have? We still have a few minutes here. Okay, well, if you can think of any more questions, please do go ahead and send me an email at erin@weebly.com. It's ERIN. Whoop, hold on, we got one more. What about a mobile site? Does Weebly automatically create one when I make a site? Ooh, you know what, Max? That's a really good point that I forgot to go over. If you are on the Build tab, you will see this screen that looks like a computer. If you hit that and go to mobile, this is what you will see on your mobile site. So the answer is yes, we go ahead and create a mobile site for you. We use what are called responsive themes. So the themes that we're using and that we chose here automatically tailor themselves to a mobile device, whether that be a phone or a tablet. One thing that you should keep in mind is that you cannot edit the mobile site separately from the desktop site. So if you want to make specific changes on your mobile site, you will have to do that on the desktop site. Is there a way to show site under construction? Of course, you could do a few things actually. One option is just to make a site with one page and have it say under construction and then publish that. And then once you are building the other pages, you would just make them private and not showing on the navigation. So that's kind of a way to get around it, where you're still working on things in the background, but they only see one page that says site under construction. Okay, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here, but I really, really appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. This has been a really fun time. I hope you guys learned a lot. I know it's a lot of information, but it's a good place to start. And I'm really glad that you guys kind of took the steps and took the initiative to be here with me, ask questions, and get the most out of Weebly. Let me just remind you again of my email, which is erin@weebly.com. Go ahead and email me if you need anything. You can also visit hc.weebly.com or even help.weebly.com to check out our knowledge base and our articles that'll kind of guide you through the different steps. And that's also where you can contact our support team for troubleshooting or if you're experiencing any issues with Weebly. Okay, thanks again. I really hope you guys enjoy your day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.